The concepts from friendly fascism, the Moscow rules, and American Spy as new book sources were told to me, but have not specifically been verified, to cover many of the espionage tactics which may have been used in sources and methods, at which points the terrorism from the hate groups backed by the groups such as the ones ordered by Lindsey Graham to do economic terrorism against the political adversaries of the insurrectionists loyal to Nazism, which is functionally anarchy, and extra law, which again is repetitive. Anarchy is anti law, and extra law is non law, both of which are the function of the same mechanism. Now, the system of bringing up the political identities, generating into feudalist divisions, qualifies the mechanism of how Hitler originally took over Germany, which is being actively used in the United States as to completely destroy all of the republics up to the federal government, such as, but is not limited to, which was started in California, which overpowered it by the terrorism and threats to prevent them from engaging in their own political idealisms through the use of the military and intelligence agencies' malicious criminal terrorist threats, qualifies Sekulo's civil war. And the reason why he doesn't care about collateral damage is the Nazis who are backing him, who are the ones forcing California into the Civil War, don't care about collateral damage. Collateral damage is defined as damages against innocent civilians, which is everyone. When they try and force civilians and other jurisdictions to compel the subjugation to a policy of a foreign government, which they are, you have zero violations. There were no legally passed policies. There were no real laws broken. And any of the disqualifiers that they would present, no matter what the distractions are, no matter what the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's speeding or jaywalking or whatever, it doesn't matter. The targeted statelessness is Nazi war crimes against the United States population. And this is necessary to understand because when the Nazis are assisting the international enemies of the United States to weaken the Americans, they are designing the collapse of the Americans into Nazism. The subjugation of the collapse forces the overpowering by the genocide terrorist maniacs, qualifying our entry into Revelation and its complete destruction of the world, which they have been manufacturing for an exponential period of time, which includes, but is not limited to, the war in Ukraine with Russia, which was manufactured by the terrorists. Now, their estimate of David Boles' character, which they have been referring to in their secret courts for their hate crimes, the wizards have addressed the concept that David would have generated a country on top of all of his trades, qualifying the creation of states with each treaty-holding nation, which would include the former Soviet Union's states, such as Ukraine and Russia, the Federation. Qualifying these positions generates the position that NATO not accepting Russia would not have David's country as the legal character. Now, while David would save Europe from their estimate, he would not join NATO if it was in breach in complications of his agreements with the Russian Federation and its former satellite countries. These positions qualify the broker nation making the trade with Russia and the other nations, qualifying a peaceful enforcement of their agreements by a third party under law, preventing the possibility of anyone from assuming that there was going to be a problem. There is no possibility of a conflict without those who want to kill Russia inside the United States government, loyal to the Soviet Union, which is not a territory but a precept of concepts, of policies, of identities. The communists in America who are loyal to that system under the Nazis are systemically trying to weaken, cripple, dismantle, destroy, and overthrow, and brutally treat the Russians, who they treat with absolute contempt. Now, the espionage game requires them to play nice to a certain level for public appearances and expectations, but make no mistake, they have every intention of doing every kind of evil to them. In context, the Russian national interest, Putin's reasonable, concentrated, viable interest, would be the full investigation in the war on David in its full due diligence, qualifying what is reasonable to argue to the international community for. He should provide every receipt, he should provide every engagement of proof of the espionage sources and methods of the hate groups, terrorism, threats, dismantlements, subversions, and crimes, all of which qualify his legitimate fear that the West is going to try and maliciously molest Russia. It is a real fear. They are real threats. He has every reason to be paranoid about these problems, and the solutions are being actively obstructed. Now, if he was a weak man, he would accept the subversion and he would work within the parameters. But if he was a strong man, he would order the full investigation and demand aggressively the full restoration of the original peace through the services being obstructed by the Nazi hate group.